When I said that these duelists suck, then I mean two things. First of all, they suck compared to the duelists and players in their own series, like the Duel Monsters era. Like Kaiba would suck compared to Lecter. The second thing that I mean is that these duelists also suck compared to the players and characters from the series and TV shows that are after Duel Monsters. Like they suck compared to the GX era, the 5Ds era, and the Zexal era. Because in these later shows, monsters and cards can be summoned very, very quickly compared to the way an average duelist would summon their monster cards and play their strategies in Duel Monsters. A one-turn kill was considered almost impossible in the Duel Monsters era, but it became the norm during the 5Ds era and the GX era. In Zexal, there's a character named Kite Tenjo that is able to summon 6 monsters in one turn. It's not like all of them fit on his field, but like he had to sacrifice some to summon high-level monsters, but he basically summoned 6 in one turn. No duelist in the Duel Monsters era was ever able to do that. Kaiba was surprised and he got scared just because his enemy summoned a monster with 2,300 attack points in the first turn. Here's manga evidence. There's only 4 duelists that I'm going to criticize in this video. Darts, Yugi, Kaiba, and Joey. Those are the ones that I will discuss. About criticizing Kaiba, the first thing I want to bring up is in the Duelist Kingdom duel between him and Yugi. When all the cards of Kaiba were revealed, the cards in his hand were revealed, then Sagi the Dark Clown was also revealed. Yugi could have attacked it with Dark Magician, and that would have led to Kaiba losing 1,900 life points. He would have lost the whole duel at that time because he only had 1,600 life points left. So here, Plot Armor saved Kaiba, even though Kaiba does end up winning by cheating. At the end of the day, the writing team did not want Yugi to play in a smart and clever way, so he lost his opportunity of beating Kaiba, but here's evidence that he could have done that. Then the second time Plot Armor helped Kaiba was when he dueled Lecter. Lecter could have used Watch Tranquilizer, that equipped spell card, on Twin-Headed Behemoth instead of Vorse Raider. So when Fairy Lily attacks, and Kaiba would have lost 2,200 life points instead of 1,900. That's not the only example of plot armor from that duel. There was a second time that plot armor was used, like when the card effect of Fairy Lily was limited, so Lecter can't use it for more than one battle, but it makes no sense for Fairy Lily's effect to not last until the end phase. Kaiba also showed how dumb and stupid he is when he doesn't know anything about the game, because he decided to say, he made 2 stupid statements. The first statement was that this dual computer plays as good as Pegasus and Yugi. The second statement is that Karibo was the weakest monster in the game, even though there exist monsters with lesser points than Karibo. All this makes me consider him to be very overrated and not worthy of being in the top 10 players. To end the Kaiba part of this video, the thing is that all his victories against Joey were based on plot armor. They were due to plot armor. His first duel against Joey was in Duelist Kingdom, and he won only because the writing team wrote Joey to act like an idiot in the game. Joey forgot the rules of the game, and he kept on attacking Rapid Horsemen with monsters that have weaker attack points, lesser attack points. He basically committed suicide by doing that. To make Kaiba look good, the writers had to dumb Joey's character down. Then their second duel in Battle City, the writing team instantly made Joey make a mistake by falling for the Crush Card Virus strategy. They also didn't let Joey use any of his better spell cards or trap cards, the high quality ones like Skull Dice that could have weakened Blue Eyes Red Dragon when it attacked. He also could have used Roulette Spider, but he didn't use it either. In Battle City, the whole entire tournament, the writers never let Kaiba fight a strong opponent besides Yugi, only because Yugi's the main character. That's a duel worth taking seriously. But before he dueled Yugi, he never dueled against a strong opponent in Battle City. he fought the weakest finalist during the quarterfinals. That weak finalist was Ishizu, who used an unrealistic stall strategy-based deck. If he fought a capable duelist like Odeon or Bakura, then he most likely would have lost. If he dueled against Mai, then Mai would have gotten rid of his Crush Card Virus attempt very easily by using Harpy's Feather Duster. So Kaiba basically sucks. The time has come to criticize the main character. Whenever people say the word Yugi, they actually are talking about the Pharaoh. So when I'm criticizing Yugi, then I'm talking about the Pharaoh, not the real Yugi. Now, first of all, the reason why I think that he's a pushover, I think that he sucks, I think that he's weak is because there are multiple mistakes he made in his career as a player. First, he made a mistake against the rare hunter named Arcana, where he sacrificed 2 monsters to summon Dark Magician. The reason it's a mistake is because if he just attacked with both of those monsters, he could have dealt 2,700 points of damage. But instead, he chose to summon 1 monster with 2,500 instead. Second time he made a mistake was when he fell for the trap card Mirror Wall of Mai during Duelist Kingdom. He was not able to tell that it's a permanent trap card. This third thing is not a mistake, but it's a weakness in his deck that is consistent from his very first duel in Battle City. That is that most of the monsters in his deck appear to be level 5 or above, meaning that they require tributes to be summoned to the field, except for rare cases like the Tricky, but the Tricky is a monster card that he does not use until Season 5. This is a very big issue because when he duels Joey, who's possessed by Merrick, then the only monsters in his deck that could beat Alligator's Sword were monsters that required tributes to get summoned. So that weakness in his deck could be exploited by anyone that has common sense. The fourth reason why I think that Yugi sucks is because he would have clearly lost if Loomis attacked him instead of Kaiba during their double duel in the Battle City preliminaries. This is the fifth reason that the Pharaoh admitted that he could not do anything against the player killer of Duelist Kingdom, who was basically the manga version of Ghost Kaiba. He was using Kaiba's deck against the Pharaoh, and what saved the Pharaoh from losing was Plot Armor, where the dragon just dies on its own instead of following the orders of the owner to attack the enemy duelist player. This is why I do not consider him to be a good player of the game. He only gets called the best or one of the best by stupid fans. They're obsessed with nostalgia and they're just biased in his favor. That's the reason. So why Dart's an anime-only villain is weak. He's not in the manga, he's a filler character, but he's weak. I'll explain why he's weak and overrated. But first, I need to address his duel against Kaiba. Even though he technically did beat Kaiba, the thing that everybody ignores is that Kaiba did not use any of his best cards against Darts. There was no Virus Cannon, there was no Crush Card Virus. There is not a single attempt at using the spell card named Soul Exchange or the monster card named Lord of Dragons against Darts. Kaiba could have used that spell card called Lullaby of Obedience to take away the seal of Orichalcos from Darts before he uses it. But the writing team who controls the script did not want that to happen. So for these reasons, even though I am a Kaiba hater, I do not consider Dart's victory to be genuine. Kaiba and Darts are both overrated and weak. Now, what the fans or the defenders of Darts' character like to bring up all the time is that he has a very powerful monster card in the form of the Divine Serpent and another one called Orichalcos Sunros. But what all ignore is that both of these monster cards require very special conditions to be summoned to the field. Another thing is that Shunros' attack points and power is all dependent on the amount of damage that is absorbed by Kyutora. And if Kyutora is not destroyed first, if Kyutora does not go to the graveyard, then there's no way that Shunros can be summoned. That is a summoning condition. And Divine Serpent has a severe weakness. It forces the owner to discard 10 cards of their deck every turn it's on the field. The moment that it's summoned, the player or the owner has to discard all cards in their hand, meaning that they have no cards in their hand, so how are they going to play? So if your deck is limited to 60 cards, then you would basically lose in 6 turns or less if you rely on the Divine Serpent. You also have to draw an extra card for your draw phase every turn, basically one card every draw phase, so your deck is going to be depleted all the time. So, due to the candidate of losing by deck out, darts would suffer more because of the Divine Serpent. It's a liability, it's not a good thing. Like, diversity is not the strength of a country, it's a weakness. So is Divine Serpent a weakness of Darts' deck. All an enemy would have to do is just continue to play their monster cards in defense mode to be safe from Divine Serpent. The final thing about Darts that I want to bring up is that even if he has Kutora on the field, then he's still vulnerable to damage by card effects, because Kutora can only absorb battle damage, not effect-based damage. So against a burn strategy deck, he would be very weak, he would lose very easily. Now I am going to talk about why Joey's duel against Merrick does not make him any better than Merrick as a duelist. It is true that Joey would win if he just ordered his monster to attack, but the thing is that Merrick was, like you and I have already talked about and discussed, not at full power, because of the first reason he did not spam his god card raw, and the second reason is that he did not take Joey seriously. Of course, that's on him, that's his own fault, but it doesn't change the fact that even if Joey does beat him, then it's not a right judgment of their skills, because you have to judge them based off of their best performance. Another thing is that even though Merrick was cheating by using the Shadow Game, that doesn't debunk or change any of the other facts that I mentioned. If you were to bring a what-if scenario, then I could easily also say that Merrick could have used Monster Reborn to bring back Lava Golem instead of bringing back his God card. And then Lava Golem would destroy Joey's monster and Joey would lose 200 life points. And Merrick has enough life points to deal with losing 700 every turn until he wins. All Joey could do was just play defensive monsters after that, and Merrick might draw an extra card in the future. So these what-if scenarios could go either way. The last thing I want to talk about is that nothing proves that Valiant is actually a tough duelist. Yes, it's true he beat Duke, Devlin, Rebecca, and an unknown number of players in the past when he was in jail. But the thing is, when he was in jail, that was during a time when Pegasus was probably it was probably before Pegasus hosted the Duelist Kingdom tournament, so the rules were different. People only had 2,000 life points at that time. We also do not know any of the details of those duels, because they were all off screen. Like, we don't know how Odeon got his 12 locator cards to enter the finals in Battle City. The audience did not get to see the details of his duel with Mai, and because, like our duel with Raphael, it was not shown in an elaborate way. Instead, it was an off-screen match. Since Maya was depressed, it's possible she did not duel to her maximum potential at that time. And it's clearly obvious that she didn't have all the cards that she would later get from Darts, because she's working for him later. So his victory against Mai doesn't really matter either. And if you want to think about it a little bit more, then basically Mai beat Joey and Joey beat Velen. I think that's enough to say and tell you that when Velen beat Mai, then either she wasn't trying her best or it was just a fluke. Valen's deck is basically an unrealistic deck that can't really be played, not just because you can't punch your player, but because all his monsters have 0 attack points. The whole point of his character was basically to entertain the fans of the anime, because they didn't want a generic or boring, repetitive duel where a character summons a monster instead of actually using their fists to fight them. They wanted to make this duel stand out compared to the other duels that happened in the same series. Think about it, Valen's character doesn't even make sense. He said that he had, during the episode that he fought against Rebecca and Duke, then he decided to accept their challenge to a duel because he wanted to show Mai how powerful of a duelist he is. But does that make any sense if he already beat Mai earlier? No, right? So, why would he need to prove his power to Mai when he beat Mai? By beating Rebecca and Duke, he didn't really prove his power to Mai. So his whole character doesn't make sense. You can't really say that Velen is a tough duelist.